it's like those things you pray for and you don't get them until you're ready. And I think, whatever growing I had to do, it was the divine time in alignment when Jennifer and I started like being interested in each other, because we had been around each other before. We worked together before or something. But this was the time where we just felt and got to see each other in that. Somebody from, when you meet people from where you from, y'all got an unspoken like language that's there. And it's something about that's kind of cool, man, because I don't think I've been in a relationship with anybody from Chicago and
Something about this man just doesn't sit right, and people are worried he's about to drag Jennifer into the same cycle. Common and Jennifer Hudson might still be smiling for cameras right now, posting those polished couple pics that scream Black love goals. But don't get it twisted. Behind those photo ops, the streets are buzzing with a whole different story. Jennifer, sis, guard your heart. The headlines make it sound like Common blasts J. Hud, but that's not it. He's not out here shading her in interviews. He's exposing her by doing what he's always done. Every woman before Jennifer got the exact same storyline. He comes in like a dream guy, showering them with compliments, calling them queens in public, until things start getting serious. That's when Common pulls the classic fadeaway, ghosting out of commitment like clockwork. Fans are already side-eyeing this relationship, worried Jennifer might be next in line, even while she insists she's living her best life. Let's not forget how this romance kicked off.
For Hudson, your girlfriend, how special is that relationship to you?
Oh man, that relationship is one of the greatest blessings and most important things in my life, in my whole journey in life. The friendship, the partnership, the life partnership, just the connection. Man, it's one of those things where you don't know truly like what true partnership and relationship is until you get there.
Their relationship finally went public in 2022 after months of speculation. And at first, folks thought it was the perfect match. The socially conscious rapper with the EGOT-winning powerhouse, polished, grown, and classy. Their brands matched up perfectly, like it was destined. But now, fast forward to 2025, and yes, they're technically still together, but breakup whispers have been swirling since late 2023. And those whispers turned into full-on chatter when Common started playing defense in the media, doing the most to reassure everyone their love was strong, while Jennifer stayed noticeably quiet, low-key, and almost distant. Something about that dynamic has people thinking the clock is already ticking. And that's the flashing red flag fans can't stop pointing at. When a man's relationship history is as tangled as Common's, his sweet compliments stop sounding romantic and start coming off like straight-up damage control. Every time he gushes about Jennifer being amazing or calls her a gift, social media fires back instantly. Didn't he say the exact same thing about Tiffany Haddish, about Serena Williams, about Taraji P. Henson? The pattern is way too loud to ignore. Common's reputation is crystal clear at this point. He's Hollywood's smoothest escape artist. He doesn't blow things up with messy cheating scandals or public fights. No, his signature move is the quiet fade out, slipping away the moment talks of forever creep in. But here's the kicker. Jennifer Hudson is not just anybody. She's a woman who fought tooth and nail to the top, earning every ounce of her respect with raw talent, resilience, and class. Being tied to a man known for disappearing acts is the last kind of headline her brand needs. That's why fans say the real blast isn't coming from Common's mouth. It's coming from his past. His history is doing all the talking, warning J. Hud loud and clear that she might be the next name on his heartbreak list. And the strangest part, Jennifer isn't the one steering this love story in public. Common is. Every time he lands in front of a mic, he makes sure to drop her name, almost like he's pushing the narrative himself, while Jennifer plays it low-key, quiet, and noticeably reserved. To a lot of people, grateful that silence says more than his sweet words ever could. He's out here calling her a blessing, an incredible human being, and even told Gayle King that he feels like he's finally found a true partner. Common is laying it on thick, like he's auditioning for Husband of the Year with every interview. Meanwhile, Jennifer is playing it cool. Yeah, she's posted a pic here and there, flashed a smile when asked about him, and admitted she's happy, but she's not over the top about it. She doesn't need to be. Jennifer's brand as an EGOT-winning icon and talk show queen is built on elegance and control. She's worked too hard to let her personal life overshadow her empire. But here's the catch. That imbalance is exactly what's making fans uneasy, because they've seen this same movie before. With Serena Williams, Common couldn't stop raving about how special she was. With Tiffany Haddish, he bragged about how proud he was to love her. With Taraji P. Henson, he swore she was the one. And every single time, the story ended the same way. When it came time to commit, Common dipped. So now, when he's hyping Jennifer up at full volume, fans aren't swooning. They're side-eyeing. They're asking, is he overcompensating? Is this just him trying to convince us he's serious this time, when deep down he's running the same play? And Jennifer's silence? That only adds fuel to the chatter. Some say she's protecting her brand, keeping her personal life neat and professional. Others think she's letting him talk himself into a corner, digging his own grave with every soundbite. Either way, the internet has made up its mind. This love story feels more like deja vu than destiny. Common is out here working overtime to prove himself, because deep down, even he knows his reputation is shaky. And honestly, that's the real blast. It's not Jennifer throwing shade, and it's not Common trashing her. It's his past creeping into his present. Because the sweeter his interviews sound, the louder people whisper, "Didn't we already hear this before? And didn't it end the same way?" Jennifer might be happy and private, but in public, Common is the one running a full-on campaign. And instead of calming fans down, it's doing the opposite. Every new compliment feels like a red flag, not reassurance. If Hudson really wants to know what she's signing up for, all she has to do is press play on the highlight reel of Common's past romances, because sis, it's giving straight rerun. The names change, the speeches sound fresh, but the ending, always the same. Take Serena Williams, for example. Back in the mid-2000s, Common and Serena were the it couple. Music royalty meets sports royalty, blending two powerful worlds. He praised her nonstop, talking about how she pushed him, how brilliant she was, how much he admired her discipline. Fans were convinced this was the one who finally matched his energy. But when it came down to long-term commitment, the whole thing crumbled. Serena didn't sugarcoat it either. She made it clear the split happened because he couldn't commit. And years later, Common himself admitted he was the one who pulled away. He claimed it was about focusing on himself, but fans rolled their eyes because that excuse was starting to sound like a broken record. Then came Taraji P. Henson, back around 2005. Their romance was real, not just gossip, and both admitted it later on. Common gushed to interviewers that she was special, that their chemistry was undeniable. But Taraji, being Taraji, didn't sugarcoat the breakup. She kept it 100. Things ended because Common simply wasn't ready to give her the stability she wanted. No explosions, no public mess, just him quietly ghosting on the idea of permanence. Again. And then came Erykah Badu, arguably one of the most legendary women he's ever dated. Their early 2000s relationship had the whole neo-soul world buzzing. He rapped about her, wrote about her, walked around like he was completely spellbound. But years later, Common admitted that Breakup wrecked him. Erykah was the one who ended it. And even though she pulled the plug, the same old pattern was there. He was all in, then suddenly all out, unable to hold on to the long-term glue that makes a partnership last. Fans still joke about the infamous Badu effect, but what's telling is that Common walked away using the exact same excuse. He wasn't ready. And then came Tiffany Haddish, the love story that the internet actually rooted for. They went public during the pandemic, and Tiffany couldn't stop glowing whenever she spoke about him. She looked genuinely happy. Meanwhile, Common hit his usual notes in interviews, calling her beautiful, praising her loyalty, and swearing she was someone he could see a real future with. For once, fans thought maybe, just maybe, this was different. Sound familiar? Because less than 2 years later, it was over. Tiffany Haddish admitted she was blindsided, while Common brushed it off with the same old busy schedules excuse. Fans weren't buying it for a second. They dragged him online, pointing out that his schedule hasn't changed in years. The truth was obvious. It wasn't about time, it was about commitment. And once again, he just didn't want to give it. Line these relationships up side by side and the picture couldn't be clearer. It's never been about the women. They're all powerful, successful, beloved in their own right. The common denominator is Common himself. He's the guy who will love you loudly in public, showering you with praise and admiration, but then quietly retreat the moment forever enters the chat. That's why fans looking at Jennifer Hudson aren't questioning if he loves her right now. They're questioning if that love can actually last, because they've seen this movie way too many times. The echoes of Serena, Taraji, Erica, and Tiffany are loud, all telling the same story. He won't stay. And the real blast here isn't a fight. It isn't messy drama. It's history replaying itself in real time. And if there's one court that always rules on celebrity relationships, it's the court of public opinion. Social media has already handed down its verdict, crowning Common as Hollywood's official Mr. Can't Commit. Twitter threads, TikTok stitches, shady Instagram memes, they all repeat the same refrain, Common gon' Common. Translation: no matter how perfect the woman, no matter how flawless the relationship looks, people are convinced he'll eventually back out. Sure, some fans are still rooting for Jennifer, begging the universe to make this the one that finally breaks the cycle. They write comments like, if anybody can tame him, it's J. Hud. She's too strong, too grown, too accomplished to fall for the same old game. But the other half of the internet, they're already making prediction posts, saying flat out that Jennifer's lying to herself if she thinks this ride ends differently. And that's the sting, that even her strength might not be enough to rewrite Common's story. Of course, Common isn't without his defenders. There's a whole crowd online saying people need to stop dragging him and just let the man live. They argue he's older now, wiser, and maybe finally ready to settle down. They point to his interviews about personal growth and therapy, claiming he's done the work, learned from his past mistakes, and that Jennifer Hudson might be the right woman at the right time. But that debate, defenders versus skeptics, is exactly why this relationship sits under such a blazing spotlight. It's no longer just about Jennifer and Common as a couple. It's about a narrative that's chased him for decades, the conscious rapper who can never quite stick around. And every time he opens his mouth to praise her, the internet doesn't hear love and reassurance. They hear a ticking countdown clock. So while Jennifer Hudson glows on red carpets, serving elegance and power, and Common hits talk shows singing her praises, the online jury is already split into two camps. One side is rooting hard, hoping Jennifer will be the one who finally breaks the cycle and proves the doubters wrong. The other side, they're convinced she's just the next name in a very familiar book of heartbreak. Either way, the internet's warning couldn't be louder. If history really does repeat itself, Jennifer's heart might be the one up next. And that's why this whole situation feels bigger than just romance. It's about what this relationship means for their legacies, their images, and why so many people are glued to it like a slow burn drama unfolding in real time. Jennifer Hudson isn't just another celebrity, she's an EGOT winner, one of the rare few who stacked every major trophy: Emmy, Grammy, Oscar, and Tony. On top of that, she's got her daytime talk show, a reputation as a survivor, and a brand built on resilience. Her story has always been about rising above heartbreak and tragedy to come out stronger, and that's exactly why fans are so protective of her now. They believe she's worked too hard, built too much, and carries too much grace to waste her time with a man who might not stick around. Common, to be fair, has his own respected lane. He's a Grammy and Oscar winner, a conscious rapper with depth, a Hollywood actor, and an activist. His legacy is powerful, but the one stain he can't shake is that lingering rep of being the ultimate commitment phobe. Every romance adds to the legend, every breakup makes the whispers louder. He's the man who can serenade you in poetry, but when it comes to forever, he disappears in reality. Put these two brands together and suddenly the stakes skyrocket. If Common pulls the same vanishing act with Jennifer, this won't just be another breakup, it'll be a PR disaster. The internet will say he did exactly what everyone warned he would. And Jennifer, she'll be left trying to protect her empire while spinning another heartbreak into strength. That's why fans are already debating whether she's lying to herself, because her brand won't allow her to admit she might be standing on the same shaky ground every woman before her stood on. And that's where the blast really lives. Common isn't blasting Jennifer with shade. He's blasting her with his history. His past is yelling louder than any interview. No matter how many times he calls her amazing or gushes about being blessed, the echoes of Serena, Taraji, Tiffany, and Erica are playing in the background, and the internet hears it crystal clear. So what's next? That's the million-dollar question. Some fans believe Jennifer's the one, strong enough, powerful enough to finally break the cycle and make Common settle once and for all. But others are convinced she's just the next chapter, another heartbreak waiting in the wings. Either way, the world is watching closely, because if the skeptics are right, this won't just be another breakup. It'll cement his title forever. Common, the man who couldn't commit. And for Jennifer, it'll be yet another test of resilience, another trial in her story of surviving heartbreak and rising stronger than ever. Like, share, and subscribe to Public Secrets, because trust, this drama is far from over.